Hi, welcome to Kashino Enterprises, where we try to educate everyone in the Exos communities about vocabulary and accountability. It comes to my understanding that you guys are interested in how to use Degas. Now this is very simple. It just so happens that I'm very familiar with Degas. Let me use it in a sentence. Me and my Degas was out here exploring when we saw this big one-eyed monster that was spazzing out. Another perfect example. I hate doing the ancient gold mine because these Degas have reflect and keep guardian stone breaking my character. Man, every time I go into the shop, it just proves how greedy these Degas really are. Free to play better be able to actually get up to level 30 on the Exos pass, or these Degas is gonna hear it from me. As you can see, here at Kashino Enterprises, we are always here to educate everyone and to have what? Oh, you want me to review the character, not like a play on words or something. I guess I could do that too. That's right, today we're going the hooded one today. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and today's video works on Apple and Android devices, freshens the breath, and is 100% MFO. Today we're going to be talking about the legend, the character, for some reason that I could never get. It's going to be Degas. Degas is a actually of legendary status because he's one of the characters out of all of the legends that are in this game that outside of a FC is being used by top players, and you'd wonder, no, of course you'd want to know why is a character, you know, because right now it's all faded or FCs. Why is this character that I don't have, I'm not jealous, why is this character still getting all this love and stuff like that? Like, what is he doing that's so crazy? Now I think, like, just as a spoiler, when we go to his stats, I just want to kind of showcase that he is a block character. He's also a Dragon Knight, which we'll go into a little bit later, but whatever. But really important here to note is that he's a block character. So what I want to do is I want to slightly compare him to Ulum. So let's look at his stats here. First things first, his attack is all going to be low, which is great. We just got done talking about Bathory, and you know, it's good that the tanks and support characters have low base attacks, so it's very easy for them to fall under Tranquil, which I think is very important to note. So he's going to be able to take some damage. He actually has the same block as Ulum, which I'll show you in a second, 390, and Ulum has the same. So for a character that have the same amount of block is pretty good. We're still trying to see with that. I guess that needs to be a video soon, maybe tomorrow, because I have work today. But that needs to we need to just nip this in the butt. But I still believe in that every character has a 50% chance to block, and as you guys notice, Gear has increases block defense rate, so that's why some characters have a higher chance to block, and you see it happen more often. That's why I don't like block, because it seems too random and you can't consistently count on your damage. But also when the block triggers, I do think that this is how it works. It is mitigated in some way, shape, or form by this number, but still, that's a lot. Even if you wanted to flip it, it's still going to be a lot that we're going to have a higher chance to block, and then it's going to reduce it by 50. Whatever way you want to spin it, it's still, he's going to be blocking and he's taking not that much damage. So if we were to go and bring this up and side by side it, which I can do in post-production, but it's going to be, I can't really do it here. So just to have, you know, hit, dodge, critical hit, whatever, and then we're going to go and push over to Ulum. Now you guys saw that, right? The only thing that changed, if I'm not mistaken, was the critical damage, but everything else is pretty identical. His maximum attack and stuff like that, but there is a legitimate stat difference usually as far as attack and defense. I think, as you can see, his base defense on Ulum is 1649, so he has way more base defense than our boy here. And again, I'm going to switch back over. I mean, you guys will be able to see it, but I'm going to switch back over, and you see that the only thing that changed actually is just the attack speed and the base stats, but they're very similar, and I think that that's really important to note. Since they are similar, I do want to point out one thing before I go into the skills. Like, Ulum doesn't have a banner. You can summon on the string, right? But one important thing about, hopefully one's here, yes, thank you. One important thing to know about these characters, especially the legendary characters, is that they pop up in the exchange shop for solar seals, right? So you can actually, like, if I wanted to, I wish there was a slider, by the way, terrible design. So I have 5,000 of this. So if I wanted to be able to summon this character, do they tell you if I hold it on maybe? Yeah, you need 50. So if you do some quick math, basic 50 times 5, oh sorry, divided by 5. Yeah, I'm messing up my math already. So we need 50 of those. So 50 divided by 5 is 10, obviously. So I would need to buy this 10 times, and then you times 10 by 100 and you get 1,000. So really cool to know, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of this, especially as you can see on a smaller scale. Right now, this is how people max out their Xeons, especially if they have FC Xeon. There doesn't seem to be a limit here. I've never actually tried to buy any of these out, but this would probably be the best way to do it. You would just buy this. I mean, obviously it should be half, right? So if this takes 1,000, it should be 500. Quick maths, they would keep buying this and keep buying this. So if you were to see Degas in here, I don't know if there's a limitation of characters that can pop up in the exchange shop, but you could just max them out with this method and use the solar seals. Right now, people are debating on using the solar seal for unlock potential. I think this is better, especially because sometimes characters that pop up in the exchange shop are characters that you need for special dungeons. If we're just talking about how strong this character is and how, you know, usable he is, it's important to note that if you do happen to see them in there and after this you think, yeah, I definitely need the character, because he is a really good character, and let's go see why. Wait, let's not break the tradition. Oh, he's old. He's close to my age. He is 28 years old. Doing it for the people, man. That's crazy. All right. I actually like when characters are around my age, like I can relate to them a little bit better. Let's check out the basic attack. Ooh, double hit. I thought it was over. And a backflip. Ooh, man. My man's still healthy in these dark times, man. Next up, you're going to see that he does have to block. The way that block works is that he AoE provokes the enemy team when one of his allies drops to 30% or less health. And it's a 10-turn provoke. And it grants heal over time to yourself. And that heals 20% of attack every turn. So pretty much you give yourself a little heal while you're provoking everyone. Usually, you know, it's not going to keep you alive forever, but it is nice, especially when your attack is higher. That's why Ulum will heal technically more than he would, because he has a higher base attack. But if you somehow give him a lot of attack, he'll also heal a lot. You can also see that block 2, you can gain mana if your health is 20% or less when triggered. So if he's low on HP, he'll also gain mana. And if you saw block 3, if he's high on HP, he'll gain it. With unlock potential, you can boost this up to block 3. He's also a Dragon Knight with Dragon Knight Blessing, which means that on elemental days, you kind of want to bring him in there to do DPS, which is weird because he's a tank. But you know, there's multitude of options. If you guys don't know, my theory, eventually when you want to get a high score on the dragon, is to actually bring in all the Dragon Knights on those days, and then on the Dragon Hunter days, you bring in all the Dragon Hunters and things of that nature. So having them all built up to a certain degree is going to benefit you when you're trying to go for those high runs. His first big skill is Aegis of Faith, and it gives himself 32% maximum HP for 8 turns, and he also applies share health for longer than that, which is kind of weird, but share health, if you guys don't remember, it means that you are going to be taking 30% of damage for other characters. You're going to mitigate damage, and then that damage is going to go on to you, which is then allowing him to use more skills. So let's look at this. Boof. Aegis. And one of the sickest. Oh, he blocked the formation. You stupid thing. It's so much cooler because you can actually see him in his stance. Now, what's really cool about this, specifically about this move, is that it pretty much is a 32% heal if you think about it. Giving yourself HP, or even if it say gave himself a barrier based on 32% of his max HP, then he would mitigate that much damage. So actually, if you actually look in the game when you see characters use skills like this, the only example I can think of is Luke. It looks like he healed himself because he literally adds health on top, and that's what healing is, right? Just adding HP if we think about it. So he pretty much gives himself additional HP to tank, but the only thing that's weird is that he's tanking longer from when the HP is there. But I guess you can say he can just keep reapplying it, which is good, but eventually you're gonna want to use that mana that you're gaining from tanking all day to use it on a skill that matters. Now, this is what, in my opinion, makes him really insane, is that he has an AoE plus 5 mana, but it's not that hard for him to get it. Status effect, a 5-turn freeze. That's actually if he, based on how slow he is, and if the other team is really fast, I mean, this is a perfect scenario, but the other team being really fast, he can make them skip 2 to 3 turns, possibly all the turns. If he's the last one in the round, then they go and then they have a 5-turn stun. Like, that's actually ridiculous especially if you're fighting a really fast team. So let's look at the Cursed Trident. Talk about it. Trident! Pretty good animation, nothing too crazy, but above average, I'd say, for the loveliness that are the legendaries, who get a little bit shafted as far as like the long, crazy, cool animations. And unfortunately, that's kind of it. Even though he's such a basic character, right? Oh yeah, look, I forgot, I should have made him 5-star, right? So his base defense at 5-star is 1590, which how far is that from Ulum? Because that, you know, 5-star versus 5-star, I should have did that, right? I know someone's probably complaining like, you motherfucker. Yeah, what is that, 100 off? Almost about 100 defense off. That's not really that bad. Like I said, here's the difference between block 3. They just have the 70% mana one, so pretty much can gain mana in a different scenario. Everything else is exactly the same. Let's go into gear. Let's see what kind of gear you'd give them. You guys know me, gotta bring up the red. I do think that damage reduction, especially for someone that is specifically tanking for the entirety of the team, damage reduction sounds very attractive to me. And then of course you have the block. Now again, I always got to bring up, I don't know how dodge works to the T. I understand that the higher the value, the better it is. Also, you know, if you reduce their hit, I really want to see Shell and who charms. I think Janae charms. I really would love to see that dynamic in play, because those two together would be absolutely stupidly ridiculously cool. And then you just have everyone else on your team with very high dodge. Maybe I'll do Shell after this to really drive that home. I think a lot of people are sleeping on a really cool concept, especially where Janae, in my opinion, would shine the most. I do think that adding doubling his block is kind of ridiculous. Whatever, like I said, whatever way that block works, that's a good way to go, to either reduce the damage like a really significant amount, or like I said, just reduce all total damage in general, like total damage reduction. So like the finality of the damage, and then bring it down. Now, I think that it's important to note that this will gain more like effectiveness when the total damage is high, but a lot of the times, like I think I showed before, that the HP of these characters, even if I go to my own main characters, best CP in my entire unit, you know, is Rudley, which is, he's not a tank or whatever, but you know, he only has 5,000. I know my other tanks here, 6,000. So like, if skills are doing like less than that or half their HP, and then it gets reduced a little bit more than that, it doesn't ring as hot, it doesn't ring as strong as if, let's say, we said that block works the way that the block value is the trigger, and then it reduces it by 50%. That means technically it'd be just better to go with blocking and making block happen more often. That would be smarter. Or if the other way around is that even as you're using gear, as you guys saw, block defense rate goes up on your gear, so you're eventually going to get that anyway. Either way, he's going to be blocking more and reducing the damage more. It's naturally going to happen as you see block and block defense. It naturally kind of goes into faded gear, and it's going to be up there. So those characters, regardless of whether, depending on how invested they are, like when you see a tank that has like all faded gear, that tank is, regardless of what the theory is, it's going to take a lot less damage. So that's why I think that, you know, red is not that bad, because you can really mitigate even more damage, and especially with an AoE provoke, and he has shared health, which is a little bit different from Ulum, who doesn't have that capability. Ulum, even though he's by definition tankier, the only time he starts tanking is when he provokes. Meanwhile, for a character like Degas, who literally can, once he gets a couple mana, as we also already discussed, he is a frost character. So as people are blocking, if you're using a very defensive team, he's going to gain mana, and then he can pop that thing immediately, and he needs to be able to sustain himself through all that damage. You're definitely going to need to run a healer, because a lot of the times I see that he takes all that damage, and then he can at least stun the other team. But I think you should definitely, him and Anna should be like, let's just say that they're really good friends, which is still kind of awkward, because why is a 28-year-old friends with someone that's half his age? That only works in Disney movies. And as you can see, Disney copyrights my shit. Anywho, hope you guys enjoyed. Anywho, hope you guys, oh, this thing looks crazy. Isn't it? This is like, like it's trying to hide or something like that. I don't know. I kind of like when my hoodies make my thing look weird comparison with my glasses. I think it's funny. I look like I belong in Star Wars, right? Like one of those Dark Lords or whatever. By the way, never seen a Star Wars movie in my life, and I know you guys are gonna judge me on that. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Even though I look like a weirdo right now, I kind of like it. I like being weird. It's fun. But just remember that every day at the cashier is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.